planet is getting destroyed, and that's why we're having all the tsunamis and the earthquakes and all that bad stuff. So today, I would like to talk about recycling. Why recycling is so important in our lives. We have to make it part of ours because it's not just a benefit for us, but it's a benefit for our natural resources. It's also even saving energy, and it also reduces pollution. So it says that during the 60s, the United States started caring about recycling, how important it was, because they started realizing that the climate was changing, everything was changing, and now it's getting worse. It's so hot in Texas, it's so hot in Houston, the ponds from the lakes are getting dry. We don't even have lakes anymore. It's pretty sad. So we need to start, doing something about it. So what I would like to start with first is why recycling is important. Because every time when you throw something in the ground or in the water, you're not only harming animals, you're harming the whole entire planet. You also, if you don't recycle aluminum, you're doing such a bad thing because it says it's been proven that when you recycle at least one can of aluminum, you're saving 3 hours of energy, and you can actually use it for your TV. So that's whenever you save at least one can, that's what you do. You can actually use it for 3 hours of television, which is pretty important. Also, aluminum can be last for 500 years from now. So we can use aluminum for a long time. So that's why we need to recycle it. Because if we just throw it in the streets, we're gonna make we're gonna keep destroying our environment. And I'm pretty sure none of y'all want that, right? No, right?
No.
Also, another fact that I had to research on is this, that we use over 80,000 million aluminum every year. It's kind of sad. We use a lot of aluminum. So this is something we should take care of. We should, be careful about it. Also the risk of you leaving plastic stuff in there, or just, whenever you go to the beach and you just throw plastic in the floor and then it gets into the water, you're killing a lot of animals, creatures in our ocean. It says that every year there's 100,000 millions of creatures that they die per year. So one day we're not gonna have animals, we're not gonna have a weather. This world's gonna end crazy. Now let's talk about the benefits when you recycle. This is the good stuff. Recycling can reduce the amount of cutting trees. You want to have trees around your house, right? When you recycle a tons of paper, when you recycle, you save 17 trees. Can you believe that? You save for a ton of paper, you save 17 trees. And also in 2000, recycling resulted that it was, when you recycle during 2000, the annual savings of energy was a lot. It was over 6 million homes. So it's a good thing. Some people might think recycling is bad because you spend a lot of money on it, but at the long run, you're saving, your future, your generations. You're keeping them, in a good environment, not destroying. It's also, the more we recycle, the cheaper it is, and the cheaper we save money to recycle. Like I said before, it's kind of expensive sometimes, and it saves over 20 million every year. If you do recycling, it saves 20 million per year. Also, it's been proven that U.S. companies have saved millions of dollars just for volunteering to recycle. Now let's talk about how we see ourselves in the future. If we do all of this, if we start recycling, this is how we would future ourselves. There's studies have said that when you start recycling, our global warming starts to decrease. There's it's not going to stop because obviously it's too late for that, but we're going to reduce the amount of global warming. So the glaciers from both the North South Pole, they're going to stop, melting. They're melting right now, but that's what we're trying to do, recycling. And the number of endangered species, they will decrease. And meteorologists, they also have evidence that there will be less disasters occurring around the whole world. So I think y'all should start thinking about that. And like I said before, recycling is very important in our lives, and it's better the environment